This is proudly sponsored by K-Man Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211. And K-Man Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week. Optical Outlook, now at their new location in Anderson Square. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook. And Lee's Office Products Limited, at Paddington Place, Godfrey Nixon Way, moving your business forward.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. Here's your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning and welcome to the Business Buzz. This is our Thursday edition of the Buzz, and this morning we only have one segment as of first. Half an hour was taken up by Money Sense, and it was a great show this morning by Money Sense. Good morning, Miss Susan. She's back in the studio. It's always good to see Susan back in the studio. Again, welcome to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. We continue with our regular segment with the RCIPS, which is usually every second Thursday of the month. In this segment, the RCIPS will be providing us with updates on their ongoing investigations and highlighting some areas of concern where they would need the public's assistance. Our guest in studio this morning, it's a pleasure to have Miss PC Jodianne Powery. Jodianne is a police media officer with the Media and Communications Unit, MCU, and with her is the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Kurt Walton. Mr. Walton is in charge of investigations and operation within the RCIPS. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Miss Anita. Thank you for having us. I almost called you Miss Susan there.
That's all right.
Good morning, Miss Susan.
She's over there.
Good morning, Anita.
Good morning, Mr. Walton. How are you both?
Good.
Good to have you back in the studio. Been a while? A month?
Yes.
Or more?
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Kurt Walton, he were here about 2 months ago.
Yes.
We had a few things going on, and we had to miss our last appearance, so I do apologize to our listeners for that.
Can you owe us? I'm just kidding. So, Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Walton, please tell us a little bit about yourself and the role you play within the RCIPS.
Yeah, Anita. So I've been with the RCIPS now a long time. December 29th actually will be 35 years, believe it or not.
We won't calculate your age.
Yeah, no, I'll leave it like that. A very long time. Most of my career has been spent into specialist operations, certainly around 20 years of that, whether it's the CID or the specialist areas in terms of the drug squad and everything in those areas. But at the moment, as a Deputy Commissioner, I have full responsibility for policing and security in the Cayman Islands. So that's really probably a broad brush of how I could describe that overall policing and security.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a whole lot to me.
Yes, it's quite
Sounds like you're almost doing whatever the commissioner does as well.
Well, yeah,
security and policing.
Well, it's a huge responsibility. The commissioner obviously full accountability for everything else, but he has 100% support of myself, my deputy colleague, and all the commanders under us. So it's our responsibility to ensure that we do everything we can possibly do to keep these islands safe.
And you're doing a good job. So far this year, we have been seeing an astonishing amount of violent crimes in the Cayman Islands, especially those involving guns, as well as those related to serious crimes. Can you bring us up to date as what's been happening?
Yeah, so this is obviously a concern for us. And we said that when we were here a few months ago, and I've said that publicly on TV. And the issue at the moment that we're seeing is, so the beginning of the year, between January and April, we had 7 gun-related or enabled crimes. Since April to present, that has increased to total of 39. So at this very moment, 39. But when I say 39 firearm-enabled crimes, those are crimes involving either a robbery or where a firearm was said to be used. Okay. The big concern at the moment, obviously, is the issue around the use of firearms to commit crimes such as, seriously injure individuals, and on 3 occasions we've had three deaths as a result. And what I can say thus far, certainly since April 10th, to present, we've had 18 victims. There were 9 incidents where 18 victims were injured as a result of a firearm. Of those, 18 resulted in 3 deaths.
Wow. Now, what has been the response of the police in relation to these incidents?
Well, so there was obvious, when we had the July 9th incident outside of Vic's Bar, or outside and inside of Vic's Bar, where we saw 6 persons shot, one of whom had died, and then we had the July 9th, and then July 1st and July 9th, we had a heightened visibility of armed patrols, a lot of proactive operations, execution of search warrants. We had our major incident room open, so we had a team of detectives, well over a dozen detectives, and the reason for it was we needed the investigative side of it to run the patrol, or the proactive patrol of it, to run parallel with the investigative side, because we need to give our investigators a bit of breathing room to actually go through all evidence, and because that can be painstakingly meticulous work. What we saw as a result of that, we arrested a couple of individuals, and some of those individuals are now currently at HMP. We immediately saw a lull. In fact, between July 9th and September 10th, we had no shootings. So we went a full 2 months with no shootings. Of course, we had incidents since that where we had 2 young men. One was shot both in West Bay. One was shot in the groin area, and the next one on September 26th was shot in the side, on his leg, thigh area. And then, of course, the most recent, we had the incidents over the weekend, or certainly on Sunday night going into Monday morning, which started in West Bay at Finch Drive around 1:15 in the morning, where we had gunshots fired into the windscreen of a vehicle there, leading then to the next call outside of Cotton Club, just around 1:50 in the morning, where we had shots fired again at that location. And then at roughly just over an hour later, around 2:15, outside of the Strand on West Bay Road. So that was literally 1 hour where we had 3 firearm incidents. Thankfully, no one was shot, seriously injured during those 3 shootings. We have since arrested an individual yesterday morning for one of those incidents, and that's the incident outside of the Strand. So that individual is currently in custody, and obviously we will have to go through the investigative process, gather all the necessary evidence, and we will present a file to the DPP, and hopefully over the next 48 hours we'll see where that goes.
Now, I've got a question. Susan's got a question. Someone's got offline.
Sure.
Someone's got a question. How are the guns getting into the Cayman Islands?
It's
before we move on.
Yeah, sure, no worries, and that's always the number one question, and certainly what we've seen in the past, we know from previous successes that we've seen guns coming in through the port, where we've seized weapons that way, and working with the CBC. We've had the obvious ones coming in from the Jamaican canoes. We've seized guns on those boats. So those are the 2 obvious. The difficulty at times is to knowing exactly when this is going to happen. So obviously for us, we relied heavily on the intelligence, and that's based on what we act on. But those I would say at the moment, pretty much the 2 areas where we would say as a source of the smuggling of guns.
And they come in by canoes because they're not picked up by the radar, is that correct?
By the radar?
Oh, yeah, by any type of radar.
Oh, we don't have a radar in the Cayman Islands to pick those vessels up.
Not radar like, we don't, okay.
No.
Didn't know?
No.
Okay. All right. How about the port? Are they coming in any idea how they're coming in?
Well, certainly what we've seen in the past, the containers through the normal channel of legitimate importation of goods. People are, smugglers are very can be very creative, very find some creative ways to smuggle weapons into the country. And certainly from in the past, we've seen it being smuggled into appliances, toys, and the like. So that has certainly been seen. We haven't had any recent seizures from the containers, but certainly all indication are, if we're creatures of habit, or smugglers are creatures of habit, although they do find new ways to do business. But the difficulty with those containers, there are so many containers, as you can appreciate. We are an importing country, so it's difficult at times to be able to, I suppose, scrutinize every single container. If my memory serves me correct, I think we have well over 2,000 of those containers coming in monthly. So as you can imagine, that's a monstrosity of a task for the Port Authority and the CBC. And
then you have to check everything that comes in, in those containers.
Yeah, no, I certainly would recognize the difficulty or the challenge that would be for those authorities.
Okay, now I'm going to swallow that for the rest of the day. I'm going to chew that, because that is a lot to think about, because the amount of containers coming in, and I'm pretty sure that smugglers will find a way to smuggle them in. Now, what assistance does the police need from the private and the business sector to help not only curb crime, but just about everything else?
Well, what I can tell you from, if I just go to the Christmas Eve murder of young Michael Bush there outside of the Strand, where he was stabbed, and we just had the murder trial. I can speak of it because the individual has now been convicted. Just from that private CCTV alone at that facility or that location was instrumental in the trial. And what I would do is encourage all business owners, certainly if you own the nighttime economy, in terms of the clubs and the bars and restaurants, the more CCTV and the more well lit those parking lots are, if you do have an incident, it certainly is a huge plus for investigators, as well as a preventative measure, because you've got individuals who want to do something, but it's an area well lit. There's CCTV everywhere. Chances are they don't want to be committing crime while there's a camera looking at them, and it's a well lit area. So I would just to recap there, certainly from the business community, just the installation of CCTV at your premises, in particular those nighttime economy, and well, all the businesses really. If you're in the nighttime economy, just the installation of lighting to ensure the parking lots or the areas within your confine is just well lit. It's certainly just one. It's a deterrent in itself.
Mm-hmm. How about the private sector, like residences? What can we do?
Yeah, and the same applies as well. I would certainly encourage all, as a private, homeowner to have your own CCTV at home, have your Eve lights, have your air well lit. Some security tips there in terms of ensuring if you've got hedges and everything else, have it at a reasonable height that individuals can't use it as a hiding spot and the like. And it's more from a deterrent than anything else. And I appreciate that private homeowners love the lush gardens and everything else, and that's fair. As a homeowner myself, yeah. But all we can encourage is obviously CCTV and or your own private home security, and just keep your eyes on neighborhood watches. If you're in an area where you've got a neighborhood, and you just get to know all your neighbors and look at, form a neighborhood watch. You all just look after each other. I was in a meeting just recently in West Bay, and it was quite amazing when a whole entire neighborhood, even though there's no neighborhood watch, they are all on a WhatsApp channel. Sorry, WhatsApp chat group, and whatever they see in the movements, they just letting you know this car's in our ear, or this person, we just seen a person walk by. So it's just looking after each other.
And that's better than neighborhood watch, right? No, can't say
that. Well, in that sense,
just works about the same.
In that sense, it's the same thing.
Or even better because you're on the spot.
Well, it's the same thing. Essentially, that's what the neighborhood watch. Except there's a police officer in that neighborhood, and it's coordinated through the police.
Right. Correct. Guys, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with RCIPS. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks to our sponsors this morning, Cayman Insurance Center, Optical Outlook, and Cayman Medical Supplies.
Optical Outlook Caymanian Village location has moved. Same great services and products, new location. We've moved to Anderson Square in central Georgetown. It's a much larger space with dedicated parking. Please call us on 746-2020 to make your appointment at our new location today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Please come see the difference with Optical Outlook, Cayman's premier optical provider.
2020. Unprecedented times, uncertainty, and literally a new way of life.
Life happens, usually without warning.
That is why making sure that your family is insured is so important.
Cayman Insurance Center, 47 years strong, working to protect your family and your most valuable assets.
Whether you need to get a quote, renew a policy, or file a claim, Cayman Insurance Center is here to protect you and your family.
For more information, call 949-4657. Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, health, motor, and other lines of insurance products and services at affordable rates.
Hi, it's time again for another Siwa Saying. This time is a pretty somber topic. We have a seafaring heritage, and one of the parts of that is the tragedies that take place out on the sea. I always say the sea always wins. So the topic we're going to be focusing on this time is the Majestic.
The Majestic.
27 souls were on board. It was a great tragedy for Grand Cayman and something that everybody should know about and should remember. We're asking the listeners to help us out with this. We have a list of the people lost on it, but we don't have all of the names of the survivors. There were 27 people lost and 19 people survived. We would love the audience to help